Today on Heavy Metal Frequency, I'm doing one more Felix Martin album. This is Caracas. Or how you pronounce that? Caracas. It is a somewhat more thematic Felix Martin album than Scenic album. It has more of a Latin jazz feel to it. It's the genres are more not necessarily cohesive, but they're more it has a more amalgamated structure. Let's say this is Latin jazz, a little bit of funk. There's a little bit less funk on this. It's more like when Felix does the slapping on and popping on the on his instruments. It's more of like a reformatted golpe rather than like funk slapping. It's really hard to explain. You just need to listen to it, really understand what he's doing with the double neck instruments. There are some acoustic tracks. There are several acoustic tracks on here, so this gives it a different kind of vibe because a quarter of the album is acoustic, so that's a little bit different. And so there are all kinds of different dynamics on here, some Latin elements, some almost like it goes beyond having some Latin elements. There's almost like a subverted sense of flamenco on this as well. There are all kinds of different nuances and textures across this, and it's incredibly catchy. There are some metal elements in some of the solo boosted areas. There's some metal solo boosted stuff on some of these tracks, and everything on this is fantastic. Like the Butterfly Cow, the second track is excellent. I absolutely love this, and it's really hard to explain because there's so much detail. Felix is very detail oriented when it comes to everything. When it comes to his instruments, FM guitars, his playing, his song structures, and so you just need to really listen to this. And I know this seems like a cop out, and that sounds brief, and I'm sorry, but once I can unbox the case really quickly. ADD getting the better of me. And so this is an excellent jazz fusion, metal fusion. I wouldn't even call this metal fusion. I'd say it's like a Latin jazz fusion hybrid, also metal. But okay, so maybe like a Latin jazz fusion, metal fusion hybrid. Let's go with that. There's a lot of fusing and Latining and jazzing around this. So I absolutely love this, spend a lot of time with it. Everything on this is excellent. It has a lot of acoustic tracks which have a different kind of dynamic. The metal elements with the solo boosted parts are really nice. The funk popping, he tends to use that for transition changes on this, as well as some sense of golpe. So it's like this like flamenco funk transition change from one movement to another. And this is a fantastic album, and you should really spend a lot of time with it. And some of it also feels kind of like jazz recitals. It's almost like some classical etudes or jazz recital type things that are like performance pieces. And so, and I'm sure he had to do a lot of that at Berkeley, so this fits with some of that. So thank you, and enjoy this album, and the next stuff will be really cool. Thank you.